Today, episode 5 and 6 of Hazbin Hotel released. Like usual, in this video I'm going to go through each episode individually, talk about the things I liked, and then the things I disliked. Lastly, I'll finish up with some concluding thoughts. So right off the bat, in episode 5 we finally meet Lucifer. His voice was quite surprising, but I quickly got used to it and I really like it. He's a multifaceted character where he's super upbeat and jovial like his daughter Charlie, but he's also clearly depressed and quite nihilistic. We see this firsthand in his room where he hides away and creates ducks. Across the walls are family photos of him with Lilith and Charlie, highlighting how much things have changed. I think a lot of people were expecting Lucifer to be this threatening leader of hell, but I think his character is really well designed. He's from heaven, so it makes sense for him to be so jolly. The segment where Alistair met Lucifer was great as well. The two characters immediately dislike each other, but instead of fighting, they do almost like a rap battle. Hell's Greatest Dad is the first song of the episode, and I think it's fantastic. It perfectly articulates the relationship Alistair and Lucifer have with Charlie. The jabs at each other, the wonderful visuals, and the swapping instrumentals are just superb. I really love this song. Straight after, we're introduced to Mimsy, who is another great character. Her voice is awesome and the way she talks is so unique. I love how she has a history with half of the cast, so she casually talks with them. However, the rest of the cast have no idea who she is. As sad as it is that she wasn't added as another sinner to get redeemed at the hotel, I think the cast would be too cluttered, so I think her role was well suited for this episode. Mimsy explains some of Alistair's history, and this is one of my favourite parts. It reminds me of Vaggie explaining Alistair's lore in the pilot. We get to see a bunch of past overlords and how Alistair got such a fearsome reputation. I really love world building like this, and the flashbacks work so well at fleshing out characters without feeling like a lore dump. The scene where Husk confronted Alistair was terrifying. Husk's massive reveal that Alistair is on someone's leash hints at the Lilith theory I did a dedicated video on a bit ago, so I'll have it linked below if you want to check it out. Seeing Alistair transform and murder the loan sharks was entertaining. When he told Mimsy to leave, it almost feels like he has hope in Charlie's plan. The final part of the episode was Charlie and Lucifer's song. This one was also a banger and was extremely emotional. The vocals were great and it was nice to see some of Charlie's backstory. More than anything was a great way to finish off the episode. I thought Lucifer would disagree with Charlie's plan and not give it a second thought, but it was sweet to see him sing with his daughter and finally agree with her. On to the things I disliked, and there isn't many. My main complaint with this episode is the pacing. The episode felt very fast, and this is a complaint I'll have for episode 6 as well. I don't necessarily think this is Viv or the team's fault, but I feel like the series should have been 12 episodes long like in Hell of a Boss. 20 minutes isn't long enough and the plot points feel very rushed and it can take you out of the action. Like we have the scene where Alistair murders the loan sharks and immediately after it's the heartfelt song between Lucifer and Charlie. There's no time to sit back and collect your thoughts. It's way too fast and I wish they had just taken things at a slower pace. The overall animation, story, dialogue and humour is fantastic, but it's just the fast pacing that holds it back. This episode is getting an A from me. And now, on to episode 6. Immediately we're introduced to Cherry Bomb and I love her new voice actor. Cherry was always Australian, but her new voice actor nailed the role. She's a ton of fun and I love her quirky dialogue. I love how she's like the evil demon on Angel's shoulder. She's a bad influence, whereas Husk is a good influence. It's a nice contrast. I especially enjoyed her scenes with Serpentius. I shipped them as a couple and it was so sad to see Serpentius swing and miss at every opportunity. We finally got to see Heaven and I was pleasantly surprised. I expected Heaven to be full of bad people like Adam and Lut, but it's actually the opposite. I love the contrast in art style and theming. In Hell, the colour palette is full of reds and blacks, while Heaven is full of white, blue and gold. The angels look awesome and there's so much variety in their designs. The overall look of Heaven is quite cool too, with its shiny golden arches and huge buildings. The Heaven song was alright, it won't blow your socks off, but it introduces us to Heaven and its occupants, a bit like the Happy Day in Hell song during episode 1. We got the bombshell announcement that Vaggie was an exterminator. I knew for a while that she was one because of the accidental teaser image that included her wings, but a massive pat on the back if you believed in that theory because you were correct. The scene was pretty heart-wrenching and I love flashbacks. It explains a lot about Vaggie's character and why she acts the way she does. It'll be interesting to see if she can repair her relationship with Charlie as well. We got a couple new characters and I think they're decent. Sarah and Emily are interesting and have cool designs. It's pretty clear that they're good people, but Sarah has made mistakes, especially with ordering Adam to do the exterminations. Emily is like the Heaven version of Charlie, so I feel like she'll probably fall from grace like Lucifer did. The voice actors did a good job for them as well. This episode was very funny, the dialogue was well written and I was laughing the entire time. And now onto the things I disliked. Once again, the pacing is way too fast. I think this episode is the worst offender by far, but things fly past and you don't have any time to think over what happened. In particular, the parts at the nightclub could have been its own episode. Those scenes were my favourite, especially with the funny jokes. but due to the fact that they were being watched in heaven, it felt like the scenes were on a timer. If they were a specific episode, we could have seen the gang interact more, and by the end know that yeah, Angel just has improved and is on track to be redeemed. The B plot affecting the A plot was pretty integral to the episode, but I feel like it still could have worked if the nightclub scene was its own episode, and then during the courtroom scene, they look into the past to see that previous episode. Secondly, I'm not a fan of the You Didn't Know song. I feel like this could have been actual dialogue. Instead, what we got is a fast-paced song that flies through the details. I think they were pushed to fill that 2 songs per episode quota and just turned this scene into a song. The actual dialogue itself is fine, but I just wish this was a proper scene. And lastly, the court scene is a little confusing. Heaven has an issue with Charlie swearing, but Adam and Lute are allowed to verbally abuse Charlie in every conversation. I think the bit they're going for is that Adam was the first man and basically got a free pass into heaven. As a result, the angels don't really know what constitutes a sinner or a winner, so that's why they let Adam do the things he does. But I feel like the dialogue was a little jarring in that scene and could have used a bit of work. Overall, I did enjoy this episode. I just feel like the songs were a bit weak and the fast pacing was too much. As a result, I'm putting it in B tier. Still good, but it could have been better. So yeah, that's my review of episode 5 and 6 of Hazbin Hotel. These 2 episodes were the most lore heavy so far, so I'm interested to see people's opinions on them. If you agree with my takes or have any of your own, I'd love for you to leave them in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.